active engagement with each and every one of you with a view to securing the justice needs of this nation. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for being here. Karibuni sana, and may God bless us all. May I now call upon, invite the Governor, His Excellency Johnson Sakaja, to come forward and make some remarks.
I don't know if we're allowed to clap in the judiciary, but I think the Chief Registrar deserves a hand of applause. Your Excellency, the President and the Deputy President, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Your Excellency, functions in Kenya would end in half the time if we didn't have to say everybody's name. So allow me to associate myself with the protocol already established. I acknowledge all the leaders here, all the different institutions that are represented. Let me first start by thanking the Chief Justice, whose gracious invitation has brought together so many distinguished Kenyans, beginning, of course, with Your Excellency, President of the Republic, and continuing with representatives of every branch of government and of our development partners, and any number of distinguished Kenyans who are here with us today. It is our pleasure to join you all. It is especially appropriate for the rest of us in other branches and levels of government to join in celebrating the judiciary and its leadership under the Chief Justice. Committee between governments and different branches is good. Ladies and gentlemen, cast your minds back to two of the most heated political controversies of the last few years: the general election and the Building Bridges initiative. Both times, after an open public hearing of the arguments on either side, the Supreme Court gave a considered ruling that won the acceptance even of those who did not assent. Quietly and almost unnoticed, the judiciary has become an exceptional solver of difficult public disputes. In a democratic country, not all disputes can be settled in court. There is and must be room for elections, for parliament's lawmaking, for executive discretion in administration, in short, for the proper separation of functions between branches of government. But where the judiciary has done well, we leaders in other branches of government must not be slow to commend you, and you also should not be slow to return the favor when the rest of us do well. Your Excellency, indeed, it's a pleasure to be here. I've not been a common visitor. Apart from the last election, I was very frequent here, and I made lasting relationships. So it's good to be here on a different mandate. But I want to mention, Your Excellency, two judgments that are not less important for being less well known than the decisions the Supreme Court has made in the presidential elections and the like. First is the High Court ruling of 2013 that secured prisoners' rights to vote. And second, ruling in the same year, the ruling that blocked evictions in Mudurwa, right here in this county. Each time, the judiciary has protected and expanded the rights of the weak against the strong. These cases got nowhere near as much attention as those about national politics or high-stakes elections, but they have changed the lives of ordinary Kenyans in ways few institutions have managed. Asanteni sana na hongera. Let me also mention very briefly, Your Excellency, the success that we've been able to attain together with you and the Chief Justice in setting up the Valuation Court, a process that had been stuck for a number of years. As you all know, many of you are enjoying rates from the 1980s that you pay to the county government, and we've had a process of changing the valuation role to modern times. But with 6,200 objections, we were not able to start implementing the use of the valuation role. In less than 4 days, a conversation between His Excellency the President, myself, and the Chief Justice led us to gazette the establishment of the Valuation Court on the 26th of October. The CJ appointed Principal Magistrate Stephen Onjoro to chair the said court, and we gazetted 2 other members. And I am confident that we shall solve those 6,200 disputes in the next 2 weeks. Your Excellency, we are accepting all the disputes, if the county government and the valuation roll says your property is worth 100 million, and you say it is worth 10 million, we shall accept. But when you need to compulsorily acquire it, we shall acquire it for 10 million, Your Excellency. I'm sure those cases will drop. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is much to celebrate, and we shouldn't forget that the judiciary is the first of the branches of the national government to be led by a woman. Let me ask you to join me in appreciating and applauding the judiciary. Equally, Your Excellency, no institution is perfect, and we would be the falsest of friends if we didn't take this opportunity as well to suggest ways in which you could serve us better, Lady Justice. If we're going to do an even better job of protecting the rights of ordinary Kenyans than we have in the past, we will need to make access to justice much quicker and easier. The people of Nairobi, for instance, expect no less. In any case, it is one of our manifesto pledges. Let us work together to open more courts in Nairobi and seriously consider opening borough courts, which would ease the administration of justice. The backlog of cases needs to be addressed, and we ask for the appointment of more staff to handle matters more quickly. There are still unacceptable delays that cost ordinary people their time, their money, and their peace of mind. We note that there's a caseload at the City Court, right here at City Hall, whose bulk of cases are traffic-related against motorists within the city. Suffice to note that our remand facilities are congested with petty traffic offenders arrested by enforcement officers within the city. Your Excellency, the day before yesterday, I put out a message that received very interesting responses, and I told Nairobians, Your Excellency, we're grappling with illegal dumping. We are doing our best to clear. So far, we've done 86,000 tons, but we clear a place and somebody comes and blatantly just dumps. And I've asked Nairobians that if they record somebody dumping illegally and we prosecute that person, we'll find a way to split the fine with the Nairobians, such that all Nairobians become enforcement officers. We will need to address that, Your Excellency, with the judiciary, so that we can clear these petty cases. The traffic offenses can be paid by instant fines. The Traffic Act allows for that. We've set smart cameras across the city, but it just takes some few decisions from your office, Your Excellency, and mine and the judiciary to unlock that, so that we don't have petty offenders clogging the judicial system, and so that every Kenyan looks out for the other and becomes enforcement officers. If you see somebody overlapping, take a video, take a photo, send it to us. Once we prosecute them, we can share the fine. That is also going to create employment. Kazi ni kazi, Your Excellency. So, Lady Justice and the judiciary, we know the number of cases on our side, and we would be happy to help in any way that we can. The construction of 4 small claim courts under Dagoretti, Kasarani, Mihango, and Huruma has started under the county government. It had started under the now defunct NMS, and I understand that the construction of these courts are stalled. But I will not let these projects become white elephants under my watch. I will liaise with the national government and treasury to have a special budget approved and released to ensure that we can conclude those projects of those 4 small claim courts. And as I've said, we'd want more in the different boroughs that we're setting up across the city. We look forward to handing them over to you, Chief Justice, on completion, so that we can hasten the business of bringing justice to the people of Nairobi. Your Excellency, during the 71 days and 24 minutes I've been in office, we have, through our participation in the City Court Users Committee, done a quick and cursory assessment of the status of the City Court here, and we are saddened by the state of affairs therein. Among the notable issues that require urgent intervention is the lack of sanitation for litigants, advocates, and other court users. We pledge to provide, Your Excellency, the next few days, mobile facilities for that as we create a more permanent solution to give dignity to everybody in our judicial system, and especially those at the City Court. We commend the Chief Justice for establishing the first sexual and gender-based violence court in Kenya at Shanzu, and our administration supports and will enforce this by working with the judiciary and other partners to maintain and set up safe houses within the city. We're already launching one soon with the Women Rep of Nairobi, together with the police, so that we can protect women and children who are victims of gender-based violence, and we have a lot of that, especially sexual gender-based violence in our informal settlements. But enough of policy, Your Excellency. Today is your day, Lady Chief Justice and the judiciary, ladies and gentlemen of the court. So let me close with the praise you have earned. We are grateful for your service in protecting and preserving the rights of Kenyans, in upholding equal justice under the law, and in solving wisely some of the most difficult disputes that the Kenyan public life has ever produced. May you be granted the wisdom to continue to serve, and may justice remain our shield and defender. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Your Excellency, it is now my honor to invite the Honorable Attorney General to make his remarks. Karibu. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, the Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Honorable the Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Lady Justice Martha Koome, Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, the Honorable the Deputy Chief Justice, Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu, the Governor of Nairobi City, the Honorable Johnson Sakaja, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that it's an honor for me to join you today for the launch of the State of the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice report for the 2021-2022 financial year. And from the outset, I would like to thank the Honorable the Chief Justice and our team for a job well done in developing the report that is being launched today. Your Excellency, this report provides all actors in the justice sector and indeed all citizens the opportunity to evaluate the performance of the judiciary for the financial year under review. We will be able to take stock of the strides that have been made and the challenges that have been encountered in the realization of the judiciary's key mandate of ensuring access to justice. Such an open and transparent evaluation of the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice is critical in informing strategies and decisions for improved performance going into the future. Your Excellency, there is no doubt that much effort has been made towards building an independent and functioning judiciary in line with the requirements of our Constitution. One of the key highlights of these efforts in the financial year under review, Your Excellency, was as has been stated by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, the operationalization of the Judiciary Fund, which has remained a thorn in the flesh for a long time. And as you recall, Your Excellency, in the past, every time we appeared here, there's always been that request for its operationalization. Your Excellency's commitment for additional 3 billion shillings annually to the judiciary in the next 5 years is also a milestone within the period that is being reviewed. While more work remains to be done, these decisions will serve to guarantee the financial independence of the judiciary, which is a foundational element of the overall judicial independence. The decisions will also support the agenda of transforming the judiciary, including through the enhancement of the judiciary's infrastructural and human resource capacities. Judicial independence, like the independence of other arms of government, is a tool for serving and protecting the public interest. Therefore, regardless of the arms of governments in which we serve, we are collectively bound by the duty to serve the public. This collective duty makes us interdependent and requires of us collegiality, constructive checks and balances, and support for each other. Your Excellency, as a member of the Judicial Service Commission and principal legal advisor to the government, I have committed to serve as a link between the executive and the judiciary and to assist in ensuring that the two arms of government enjoy the cordial relations as they discharge their respective constitutional mandates without interference of each other's functions. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm most grateful for your kind attention. And God bless you all, and God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General. Allow me, sir, now to invite the Deputy Chief Justice to make her remarks and invite the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly.
Your Excellency, the President of this Republic and the Commander-in-Chief of our Defense Forces, Your Excellency, our Deputy President, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, all members of the Cabinet that are present with us today, the Governor of Nairobi, my colleagues at the Judiciary, at all levels of court, the directorates and staff, justice seekers here present, the staff of the Judiciary. Good morning. Now, today happens to be, at least in my judgment, the second most important day in the Judiciary. Second, after the days that we hear and determine cases. Speaker, sir, you just happen to be in the Judiciary, so this is our day. Your Excellencies, we are gathered today in this place to give an account of what we have done as required by statute. And the statute says that the person who will give that account on our behalf is the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, and it now falls on me to invite the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic, the Honorable Martha Karambo Kome, the President of my court, to come here and give the report. The Chief Justice.
Thank you very much, my sister, the Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mwiru. Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, our Speaker, Honorable Moses Wetangula, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Allow me also to adopt the protocol that has been established and recognized all the very distinguished guests that we have this morning, particularly recognizing our cabinet secretaries, and I think our prime chief cabinet secretary is coming to the Judiciary for the first time. I've never seen him before. You're most welcome. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, judges, our development partners, constitutional commissioners, our partners at the National Council on the Administration of Justice, all the people we work with, the judiciary staff, everybody who has put their hand to make this report a reality and to come and support us today. We recognize you and really say a very, very good morning to all of you. I start by appreciating and thanking the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, for honoring the Judiciary with your presence in this event. I also thank the Deputy President and the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Cabinet Secretaries, the Principal Secretaries, members of the National Assembly and the Senate, the Judicial Service Commission, chairpersons and commissioners of the various independent constitutional commissions present in this event, In addition, I'm gratified by the presence of the ends of various agencies in the justice sector and representatives.
You have told us that you want the strengthening of independent institutions to form part of your legacy. And I want to assure our judicial officers seated here today, in the Ruto administration, none of us, not the president, not I, not those below us, will ever take a telephone and ask you to determine a matter either way or another. That will not happen. And if you come across anybody purporting to speak for the president, tell them to get you something in writing. And they will not. And if they insist and they persist, look for me, then I'll sort it out. We must have an independent judiciary for our country because it is healthy. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Kenya to salute the judiciary for having stopped the BBI on its tracks. It was a terrible scheme against the people of Kenya, and all of us had given up. It was being taken down our throats. Everybody was being coerced. Everybody was being persecuted. Everybody was being bribed. But because we have an independent judiciary, all the way from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, the Kenyan state was preserved through prudent judicial discretion. On behalf of the people of Kenya, we want to say thank you to the judiciary. We don't know what we would have done because these people were determined, and therefore we want to assure you of our continued support. And I want to confirm here today that the President, our boss, in his wisdom, has placed the function of coordinating independent offices and constitutional commissions in my office, not for the purpose of interfering with whatever you do, but for the very purpose of providing a facilitative and supportive role to your work by intervening where you need intervention in the Treasury and elsewhere in government, because the President wants the independent institutions to be facilitated and supported. And once we do that, I think we'll be able to have a good country that is managed by respect for the rule of law. For officers and us, under the President, for the avoidance of doubt, because it's important. Sometimes people make mistakes without knowing. I want to confirm to you that the President has directed that this country will be governed through strict compliance to the rule of law. And we want to advise officers that you shouldn't, under any circumstances, obey unlawful orders. And if you decide to obey them, you are on your own. There will be nobody to give you cover. This is a country that will be governed through the rule of law and strict compliance with the Constitution. And that is the policy direction from our President, and all of us are complying. Without further ado, it is now my privilege and honor to ask you to be outstanding as we invite the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, and let's take our seats. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Mr. Deputy President, the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Attorney General, judicial officers, fellow leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my first occasion to be in the judiciary in my new role. I've been here before. And I want to thank the Chief Justice for putting a passionate case for the judiciary. I have listened to all the speakers very carefully, especially the Chief Justice, on what kind of judiciary we must look forward to. You have made a very passionate case on matters, human resource, technology, resources, and when I stood to walk out, I went to check on the toilets and abolition blocks, the one you said, they have been set up outside the premise. And I confirm that indeed we need to do something about our judiciary, especially those of us who are in the other arms of government. It is true, the governor of Nairobi has been on phone with me and the Chief Justice on some of the teething problems that we can sort out just by opening free conversation and consultation between the various arms of government. And I want to thank the Chief Justice for being facilitative of the work of the executive. And in equal measure, we will be facilitative of the judiciary, because in the end, we want to serve the people of Kenya together. It is correct for the governor of Nairobi to work with us, and I have already given firm instructions on digitizing Nairobi and many of the big towns and making sure that we have digital cameras so that we can make it that much more easy for us to move traffic, and traffic cases that constitute a huge percentage of the backlog in our courts should be done in the space that provide for instant fines online so that we can decongest our courts. I agree with you, Governor, and we will work with you in making sure that that happens. I, however, am not too sure about the concept of sharing fines. With those who report, maybe you will need a small note from the Attorney General by way of a legal opinion. But it is with great honor to join you today as you launch the State of the Judiciary report. The judiciary is a vital component of the Kenyan state and an arm of government which serves as an independent and serves an independent role in the life of our nation, with a core mandate of dispensing justice to all, fostering adherence to the rule of law, and respect to human rights and continuous improvement of our good governance. The state of the judiciary, its capacity, performance, achievements, impact, and prospects matter a great deal to all of us. Our commitments, insofar as they relate to the judicial arm of government, are important. We all have a duty to observe the rule of law and to respect the authority of our judicial institution and its officers as a cardinal ingredient of our mandatory commitment in Article 3.1 of the Constitution. The state of the judiciary matters because the government's mandate to ensure stability, enforce law and order, resolve disputes, maintain security, guarantee safety, and promote well-being directly relies on the existence of an effective and efficient legal system. The workings of our judicial system demonstrates the extent to which individual welfare, economic efficiency, state capacity, and fundamental rights are intertwined. If you care about the economy or national security or constitutional rights or how individual citizens fare, you must care about the state of our judiciary. At the inauguration of our administration, I stated our commitment to do our part in consolidating the role of the judiciary in our constitutional and democratic order and in cementing Kenya's place as a country guided by democratic ideals and the rule of law. I noted the importance of implementing the Judiciary Fund to secure the financial autonomy of the judiciary, thus securing its operational independence. We also commit to enhance the budgetary allocation to the judiciary annually to support the bottom-up delivery of justice by increasing the number of small claims courts, establishing high court stations in the remaining 7 counties, setting up magistrates' courts in 123 sub-counties, and supporting the judiciary's digitization program, which was displayed to us this morning, and it is doing a great job. The intended objective of these interventions is the expeditious adjudication of cases and the expansion of access to justice. It is important to note that these interventions will be complemented by other measures across the entire spectrum of the judicial chain, including the enhancement of autonomy and professionalism of our police service. It is worth expounding on the broader context behind these interventions. Our administration was elected on a platform to pursue certain interlocking agendas. Primarily, the bottom-up approach is in pursuit of socio-economic transformation to achieve shared prosperity, where no one is left behind. To do this, we recognize the cardinal objective of citizen well-being at the front and center of our immediate, medium-term, and long-term policy programs and projects. This being the case, it is inevitable that our program of action aligns with the implementation of measures that are necessary to attain socio-economic rights set out in Article 43 of the Constitution. We see the nation to be greater than the sum of its individual citizens. Its stature and might, therefore, consist of the aggregate happiness of the people which constitute it. We conceive this nation's prosperity to consist of the achievement of well-being citizen by citizen. Well-being considerably depends on the existence of meaningful opportunities for citizens to realize their aspirations. It is our manifest commitment to facilitate access to these opportunities by ordinary citizens on a rapidly increasing scale. We intend to begin with deliberate programs to create millions of jobs in agriculture, manufacturing, housing, and within the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises level. These are the 2 limbs of our bottom-up model of economic transformation: scaling up from the individual to the nation, and from the little hustles to the commanding heights of our economic system. The duty of government to its citizens is to open doors of opportunity on one hand and to protect freedoms and rights on the other. Opportunity lies in vibrant, diverse, competitive and dynamic economy whose efficiency is guaranteed by a credible system of enforcing contracts and securing property rights. However, whichever way one approaches the matter, a robust, independent, and effective judiciary, which inspires the confidence of all citizens, lies at the heart of national socio-economic transformation. This is why the state of the judiciary matters to everyone in Kenya. It is encouraging to note the extent of alignment between the executive and the judiciary as reflected in the State of the Judiciary report. I say this in full awareness of the dictates of separation of powers and the unique constitutional autonomy of the judiciary in the triangular relationship among the traditional arms of government. Nevertheless, from our distinct and separate domains, we can use the Constitution as our compass to navigate our way through our respective functions to attain the highest standards of living for all Kenyans. This is precisely what is captured in the Kenya Kwanza plan, and that is the bottom-up transformation agenda on one hand, and the strategic vision of the judiciary on the other, and that is social transformation through access to justice. Both documents explicitly set out the realization of the promise of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. They championed the inclusion of the traditionally excluded and historically marginalized sectors of our society. Each document also prioritizes the millions at the bottom of the socio-economic and political pyramid as the foundation of sustainable transformation. Furthermore, we are united in the knowledge that an accessible, efficient, and impartial judicial system facilitates shared economic development that meaningfully includes the needy, most vulnerable, and marginalized segments of our society. We also recognize that the efficiency of the judicial system in the resolution of commercial disputes and securing property rights is key to making Kenya a destination of choice for investors. The government, therefore, will support the judiciary to attain efficiency in its operations so that it can effectively contribute to the attraction and retention of foreign and domestic investments. The judiciary's stated aim to tackle systemic formal as well as informal barriers to access to justice resonates quite strongly with our administration's objective to provide access to public platforms and processes for previously excluded or underserved groups. I am satisfied that this model of delivering justice from the bottom up underpins citizen well-being and complements it with the opportunities for self-actualization created by stronger economic performance and higher investment confidence. The socio-economic transformation through access to justice is a program that is responsive to the gaps in the judicial system, ensuring that possibilities become a reality by virtue of decisive measures to develop a high-quality, accessible, efficient, expeditious, and cost-effective judiciary. Such a people-centered approach aligns admirably with our broader transformation agenda. I have noted from the State of the Judiciary report that the judiciary has made progress in delivering value for taxpayers' investments in establishing critical infrastructure and achieving significant improvement in resolving disputes. For example, the small claims courts cohort of the judicature, now comprising 11 courts, disposed of 9,315 cases, unlocking 1.4 billion that had been held up in disputes. The first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court was inaugurated in Shanzu in Mombasa, and the political parties disputes tribunal was decentralized to 7 regions. It is highly commendable that apart from setting up premises for High Court, Land and Environment Court, and Magistrates Courts across the country, the judiciary has also complemented these developments with ICT capabilities. Various judicial procedures have been simplified and disseminated to standardize service delivery. The case tracking system has gone a long way in reducing the burden of manual performance of various important judicial tasks. Collaboration with technology companies, particularly Google Africa, has enhanced internet connectivity to support virtual court proceedings across the country. From the slow, manual, cumbersome, and vulnerable judiciary of recent years, we are now witnessing the rapid evolution of a judicial system that is smart, connected, digitized, automated, and efficient. Steadily, the judiciary is getting ready for the challenges that lie ahead and shaping up as a fit-for-purpose vehicle for delivery of justice. It is no surprise, then, that the number of cases filed or pending as compared to those concluded on an annual basis provide an encouraging report. The judiciary now has better capacity to measure its own performance and capture all aspects of service delivery in accurate statistics. Cases are being concluded faster, and the number of matters stayed in the courts is declining. The decline in overall backlog rate, despite the rise in numbers of new cases, points to enhanced efficiency. This is also encouraging. A direct effect of this performance enhancement is that judicial officers have been liberated from the tedious, inefficient, and manual labor, freeing them to perform their core function, and that is the production of robust jurisprudence that breathes life into our constitutional and legal dispensation. The state of the judiciary report also includes numerous instances of jurisprudence that involve the invalidation of executive measures. All I can say is that we will strive to live up to our commitment to work within the Constitution and avoid running afoul with our courts. As I give this assurance, I am alive to the fact that the judiciary has mechanisms to achieve accountability for the exercise of judicial power and for public resources entrusted to it. The outputs of the Judicial Ombudsman are tremendously enlightening. Particularly noteworthy is that beyond resolving complaints, the mechanisms investigates root causes to minimize recurrence. And I want to encourage Madam Chief Justice and the judicial system to improve on the Judicial Ombudsman's performance. The public and the other arms of government expect the judiciary to perform its duty with integrity. And it's my expectation, because judicial power and independence comes with huge responsibility. And huge responsibility comes with a good measure of accountability. And that is why, to be able to exercise judicial power and independence effectively, responsibility and accountability must come with it. And I want to work with the judiciary, to support the judiciary, so that we can have an accountable and responsive judicial system. Integrity assurance and corruption prevention are essential pillars of remedial and corrective action. Likewise, the judiciary's performance management enhances staff accountability and guarantees service delivery to a high professional standard with assurance of continued improvement. Enforcement of Judicial Service Commission's Code of Conduct also forms part of the performance management and integrity assurance framework. And together, they provide the basis for internal audits that are used to measure and improve performance in the judiciary. I have noted all these impressive achievements for two principal reasons. First, the high standard and consistent improvement was achieved in spite of the judiciary's staff establishment falling far below its requirement. Currently, the judiciary has 6,182 employees. To operate optimally, the report states that the judiciary requires 9,417 employees, 348 judges, 1,200 judicial officers, and 650 law clerks and legal researchers, and 7,219 judicial staff. Secondly, the impressive performance was achieved on a budgetary allocation which stood at 0.6% of the national budget. Without a doubt, the low budgetary allocation has affected critical projects and activities. It is with this in mind that I gave the undertaking, and which I repeat, to enhance annual allocation to the judiciary for the next 5 years in an effort to mitigate the opportunity cost. To say, for the record, because I hear our friends and brothers from the opposition trying to propose to us that we should denigrate our own institutions and work with the institutions of others, that we are much more sure of building our own institutions. And secondly, let me also say, for the avoidance of doubt, that as we commit additional resources and financial independence of all our independent institutions, the judiciary, the police, and all the other institutions, we must all work collectively towards making sure that we have savings and we collect revenues that will support our development. I want to ask the judiciary to work with us and not to provide any safe haven for the people running away from paying tax. They should not find refuge in the judiciary. They should not find refuge in judicial orders. We want every citizen to carry their portion of the burden of running the affairs of our country. That is the request I am making to the judiciary, as I do to the legislature, that we must all work towards sealing the loopholes of pilferage and leakage in our revenue collection. I think it is important for us to note that as a percentage of GDP, we are collecting 14% of our GDP. Our neighbors are collecting 25% of our GDP. So we are lagging behind. And that is why we have shortage of resources to run our development program. Our friends in the opposition are telling us that we should continue to borrow and we should not raise our savings. I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt and on record, that already we have had conversations with the Central Organization of Trade Unions. We have consultations with the Federation of Kenya Employers, and we have all agreed, except the people in the opposition, that it is necessary to increase our contributions on savings from 200 shillings to 6% of our salaries. Our brothers and sisters in the opposition should wake up to this reality and smell the coffee. Kenyans are moving on. We want to raise our savings because at the moment we are between 10 and 12% of GDP in terms of savings. We can scale that up to between 30 and 40% of our GDP. That is the surest foundation of running our development program, not merely thinking that you can go on a borrowing spree. In any case, the money you go to borrow is the savings of others, and you have to pay through the nose if you have to borrow. So we have, everybody's job has been cut out, and we will continue to have this conversation because we are a democratic nation. Finally, and once again, I congratulate the judiciary on the commendable progress made in delivering your solemn constitutional mandate, and wish all of you God's blessings as you proceed on the journey to transformational success. Thank you, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we all be upstanding for the national anthem and the lowering of the mace. National anthem.